Hey everyone, a bit of a different view this week. So I am fighting a cold, and since I haven't done a whole lot of variety of stitching since the last time I filmed, I thought I'd do something a little bit different this week. So this is going to be a little, I guess, Flosstube extra for you. I've talked a lot about how I collect cross-stitch that I find at vintage stores and consignment stores. And I've also been cross-stitching for several years, so I have a lot of finishes that you haven't seen because they were done well before I started Flosstube. So I thought I would take you around and show you some of the stuff that I have completed. This has been something I've wanted to do for a while, but I really got pushed to do it, well, one, because I'm not feeling great. I didn't have the energy to pull out all of my bags of cross-stitch today, but also because I was watching Emily C., who is Eclectic Possessions on Flosstube, and she did something similar very recently, so I thought I would do it as well. So yeah, I'm about to show you my home, and thankfully I did some cleaning today with the help from my mom, so it's not super messy. And which just makes it a good day to show you around a little bit. So we're starting in my bedroom, and I will show you everything now. So let me just change the angle. Okay, so I was trying to find the best angle to shoot from because I've got two big windows in my bedroom, and I wanted to try and get as little glare as possible. So you can see this is my bed. I won't show you my whole bed because there's a whole bunch of laundry that needs to be put away on it. But this is my bedroom. Oh, there's Moon. Hello, Moon. And Simba's over there. I will show you that. He's having a nap. He spent most of the day outside. Oh, Moon's gonna have a nap too. Sorry for the shakiness. I'm using my new iPad and I'm getting used to holding it. So here we go. So yeah, this is some of my cross-stitch collection. Obviously the big picture in the middle is not cross-stitch. The only one of these that I have completed is this one right here, which I'm embarrassed to say has been up here for a while, and I still have not actually taken it down and ironed it. I meant to do that before it actually went up. I put it in the frame to make sure it fit, and it did, and then I wanted to see how it looked on the wall, and then I left it there, and I just never took it back down. I can't remember the name of the cross-stitch designer. It is a cross-stitch designer that's on Etsy. I will link it below though. So yes, this is the only one of the ones, at least on this wall in my bedroom, that I did myself. The rest are ones that I have gotten rescued from vintage stores. So, oh, there's going to be a bit of a glare. So, oh, and now you can see me, which I don't know which is better. If you can see me, no, or you can see it this way. So this is a big one that I found at Value Village, and I really, really liked it. I have to say I'm not a huge fan of the red board around it. I wish it was a different color, and maybe one day I will take it out and change it or paint it, but I love the cross-stitch. I really love the 1920s, the flapper style, so this is really, I really love it. And I'm noticing now that I'm filming it, the only problem I've really had with this is, not, at least when I'm looking at it in person, not on film, it's almost impossible to see the outline of her nose. So it almost looks like she doesn't have a nose, but it's being picked up a lot better by the camera than it is in real life. So yes, so I really love her. She's very pretty and stylish. And now I'll take you to the other side. So these are three more that I found. These are some earlier ones. So this one right here, oh, there's the glare. I'm gonna have to climb on my bed to try and get rid of the glare a bit. Sorry, it's really shaky. This was probably one of my first non-floral vintage cross-stitch rescues. I bought it since I moved into this place, so within the last 2 years, probably about 2 years ago, I bought this one. And this particular pattern, I don't know who did it, but I see this girl all the time. Whenever I go to vintage shops and Value Village and Salvation Army, those kinds of stores, I see her all the time in various frames, in various colors. it must just have been a really, really popular pattern at the time, because I see her, and there's one very similar that's a little boy in a, you know, vintage outfit from that time, whatever this is supposed to be. Probably, I think maybe it's like the early 1900s. Yeah, so there's one accompanying this, a little boy that I also see all the time, but I wasn't really interested in that one. So, and in the same shopping trip, I found this one. I love the outfits on this couple. I love the look of it. I don't like the face. You'll notice with this one, get in a little bit closer, most of it, most of it is done with large stitches, but they took the time to make the face and the skin in small stitches so you can actually see her face really well. This one, unfortunately, they did not do that. And the faces are a little peculiar looking. The one large stitch for the eyes and the mouth is a little odd, but I do really love from a distance how they look, the couple. So yeah, I bought those at the same time. So originally it was just these two on this wall. And then I found this one. This is one of my more recent ones that I put up in this room. I believe I found this one at not Value Village. I found this at Salvation Army. I just loved her. Just the colors and the scarf around her head. I just loved her, and I had to bring her home. So yeah, so those are the ones here. And give me a second, because I can never remember, some of the cross stitch that I have rescued have inscriptions on the back and dates and names, and I can never remember which one. So give me a second and let me check. Okay, so I checked, and none of those have inscriptions or anything. Well, someone wrote on the back of the flapper, so, but other than that, there's nothing on the rest of them. So anyways, taking you over, so I showed you this. This isn't cross stitch related, but this makeup stand, this is an antique. I've met a really nice find I got on Facebook Marketplace. It's from the 1930s, and I brought it home, and I refinished it, painted it this deep chalky purple. I'm really proud of myself for doing that. I had to take it all apart, and it worked out really well. And then I put all of these on top. So again, well, the middle one's not cross stitch. It's a painting that I found at Value Village. So we will start over here. This is also not cross stitch. This is embroidery, but I really liked it. I loved the colors and the flowers, and it's just really pretty. So I got that one. This one, Be Brave. This is one, I can't remember whether it was the first or the second pattern that I did when I rediscovered cross stitch. That would have been in about 2017. So it came from a designer on Etsy, and they had a 2-for-1 sale, and I got this one, and I got another one, which is on my main floor, and you will see in a few minutes. So yeah, and I really liked it, and I like the just simple Be Brave. So, and yeah, so that's a painting that I found, and I just really liked it. So here is another cross stitch. This one, I can't remember where I got it. More than likely, if I can't specifically remember where I got something, it's either from Value Village or Salvation Army, because those are the two places I go to most often. But yeah, I really like it. I really like the roses, and it's amazing, some of the older cross stitch, how tiny the stitches are. I mean, I know some people use Laguna and linen, but even then, some of these stitches, they're so small. It's just incredible. I feel like I would go blind if I were to do something that small. And then this one, I know I got this one at Salvation Army, and this one was probably about 1.5 years ago I got it, because I had just decided to try and relearn the piano. I took piano when I was younger, and then I stumbled across this one, and it's just really pretty. It's got a lot of half stitches, and yeah, I really liked it. So everything I buy, I always get them, they always seem to be framed, so yeah. So there's my bedroom. That's all the cross stitch I have for my bedroom, so we will move on. So now we're on our way downstairs. This is my staircase. I'm trying to find the best way to film this without tripping over my own feet. These are obviously not cross stitch, but I wanted to show you. This is a poster that I bought in New York, the Dorian, and then I had it mounted onto a board. So this was, oh, I think I bought this in 2008, and it shows that I've always loved the 1920s, the style, and I love her. I keep meaning to move this and put it in my bedroom, and I just haven't gotten around to it. This is a cross stitch that was done by one of my mom's friends when she was downsizing. She was getting rid of a whole bunch of her cross stitch pieces. She didn't want to take them all, and I guess nobody wanted to take them, so my mom asked if I wanted any of them. She was helping her friend take them to donate, and I really liked this one because the birds are really pretty, and you can see the roses are actually, they're not cross stitch, they're done with ribbon, so it's really, really pretty. So I took it. So yeah, it says 1997 on there. And this one right here, sorry for the glare, this one I bought last year at a antique store when I was in St. John's, Newfoundland. So yeah, I bought her and she's really pretty. I wanted to put her down with my crafting space, but I ended up deciding to put her up here. So and now we are going into my children's room, and these rooms are not clean, so excuse the mess. These were a fairly recent finish, and I showed them on my Flosstube. These are Pokemon. It's Eevee, the 8 evolutions of Eevee. In the bottom, the blue frame with the red paper backing on it. The middle one there, that's the original Eevee, and the rest are the evolutions. It is actually supposed to be all on one piece, but I didn't have a piece big enough, and then I didn't count properly when I was starting the original center, and I wasn't going to be able to fit them all in one piece. So I did them like this, and I think it worked out okay. My son loves them. He's big into Pokemon, so. Now we will go into my daughter's room. I do have another one for her that I need to frame, but I haven't yet. So this is her Mermaid. This is, I know this cross stitch is from TinyModernist, and I had a lot of fun stitching it. I don't know if you can see, but it is on Opalescent Aida from Michaels, and I made the mistake of using white Aida, and the, oh, sorry, I'm trying to walk around a chair here. In the center there, the mermaid, the leaves that are around the mermaid that are white, they aren't actually supposed to be backstitched, but the white on the white, you couldn't even see them at all. So I backstitched them in green so you can see them. And she loved it because she loves mermaids. So there you go. So you will recognize this. This is where I usually film. It's a little messy. I will start over here though. So this is my, well, this is my entranceway, my messy entranceway. But at my entranceway, we have our welcome sign. So, hang on, you can see the reflection. So the Home Sweet Home, that is the cross stitch I was talking about earlier that came from the same designer as the one in my bedroom that says Be Brave. Oh, hi Moon. And yeah, I did that one in, I guess, probably 2017. I think I finished them both within that year. That was when I was a monogamous stitcher, so I can't remember which one I did first, but I did them both in the same year. The other one, the birds and the bird houses, that says welcome. This one I found at Value Village. This was probably, well, it wasn't one of my first ones that I brought home, but one of the earlier pieces that I rescued from the thrift store. And I just thought I really like the birds, and it isn't really something that I would necessarily stitch myself, but yeah, I decided to rescue it and bring it home. And then I've got another welcome one, very tiny. Welcome, right there. Or you can see the reflection of my apple. Oh, I hear you, meow. Yes, I know. It's got a little stain at the top, which is kind of annoying, but yes, this was another rescue from Value Village, so. Told you, got a lot. As my mom says, my walls are getting too full. She's wrong, they're not. This is probably one of the bigger pieces I've got right here on this skinny wall. This is a more recent one I've gotten probably in the last 6 months from Salvation Army, and it's just really unique that you can see all the way down to the roots. And yeah, I just thought it was really cool, so I picked it up and brought it home. You were not alone. You can see this sometimes in my videos. This is neither one I did myself, nor is it a rescue. This is from Michael's in their homeware, but I thought it was cool. It's an embroidery, so yeah, I liked it, so I got it. And then let's see. Oh, I'm gonna have to hold my arms up. Okay, so we got these two up here. So You Inspire My Inner Serial Killer. That one I did in 2019, and also an Etsy designer I can't remember who it was. This many of you may recognize. This is Cleocatra, and it's a bendy stitchy design, and I did that. That was my first finish of 2022. And I lucked out and I found this frame at Value Village. It was actually like one of those mass-produced bathroom art pieces, and I just brought it home, and it ended up being the absolute perfect size for this piece, and I just love it. So I do always try to find my frames at Value Village or a thrift store if possible, because it's really expensive to frame things. So, and this you might recognize. This is a NightspiritStudio piece. I did this it was either the end of 2020 or the beginning of 2021, and it's very pretty. I didn't like the way the wood hoop looked, so I took it apart and I colored it black with markers, and I don't. Now looking at it now, I'm like, I don't really like how it looks anymore, but one of these days maybe I'll take it apart and do a better job of covering that up. But I do really like my spider and spiderweb. And here's another one that you might recognize. This is a TheWitchyStitcher design, and I also did this sometime, I believe, in 2021. This might have been one of the last patterns I did as a monogamous stitcher before I discovered Flosstube, and it probably was the perfect one to be working on when I discovered that you didn't need to stitch monogamously, because I really didn't like stitching this one. It has so many individual stitches and back stitching, and it was just so many times I wanted to put it aside and not work on it, but I just really wanted to finish it. So I'm glad I did, because I do really like the look of it, but yeah, I didn't enjoy stitching it, which is unfortunate, because I love all of TheWitchyStitcher's designs, but this one was just really my least favorite stitch. But I did find a perfect frame for it, so there you go. Then we've got over here beside here's my bookshelf. I don't have a huge book collection, but my books. I'm pretty anal about my books. We've got the one bookshelf. This is all of my fiction, and they have to be sorted alphabetically by author. If you sort by color, you're a sociopath. I'm joking, but I can't do that. It has to be alphabetical. And then this small bookshelf are my nonfiction, also sorted alphabetically by author. So yeah, and that's my grandmother down there. My grandma when she was in her early 20s, and then again in her 80s. So, and all my Mother's Day cards from my kids. So this one, again, another Etsy seller that I can't, sorry, I'm moving back and forth because I'm trying to find the right angle to not have the light. Yes, this is another Etsy seller. This is on some Picture This Plus fabric that I accidentally bought in 16 or 18 count when I had only ever stitched on 14 count, and I had a really hard time stitching this. Not Picture This Plus's fault, my fault. It just was a real adjustment. It was much smaller, so. But I believe this is a quote from a Jane Austen book, I believe. If I'm wrong, you can tell me in the comments, but I thought this was the perfect thing to put beside my tiny library. I don't have an excellent library. Well, I do, but I have a small library, so yeah. Now over here, this is what my best friend refers to as my grandma wall. These are all rescue pieces. I did not do any of these. Yeah, that's a lot. It used to be very small, and I just keep buying more and more. So, okay, so we will start here because this is the only one that isn't a rescue. This one was actually my grandmother's. Not done by her, I believe. It was done for my grandmother when she got married, but I inherited it, and it's really pretty. So, I'm gonna go in order of what's on the wall rather than when I purchased it. So we've got this one here. This is from Value Village. It's a lot nicer when you kind of back up because you get the full effect of the nice garden when you get, I mean, with a lot of cross stitches, when you get close, you see, you know, the pixelation, so. But it's very pretty, and I do really like it. This one up here, I've actually seen, again, this is another one that I've seen several times. I haven't actually seen this one in person, but I've seen this exact stitch several times on Instagram in other people's vintage collections. One of whom I believe is, oh, I can't remember her name. She used to go by Fancy Dinosaur Tea Party on YouTube. She is a crocheter and thrifter, and I believe she has the exact same stitch in her house. So yeah, again, this must have been a pretty popular cross stitch or embroidery. Sorry, this isn't a cross stitch, this is an embroidery. It must have been a very popular pattern at the time because I have seen it around. These two, when I talk about tiny stitches, these are tiny stitches. Look at how small those are. So we have some little pansies, and then some more tiny little pansies. These ones are very cute. They did not have a date. They did say that they were framed in Regina, Saskatchewan. So that is nowhere near me in Ottawa. So obviously someone framed them and either gifted them or brought them when they moved, and then unfortunately got rid of them, or fortunately for me. And the frames are really pretty. They're very antique looking. So yeah. And we've got these two up here. More florals. And again, just teeny tiny little cross stitches. Very pretty florals. So yeah, most of these don't really have a story associated with them. They're just pretty, and I liked them, and someone was giving them away, so their loss is my gain. I have to scooch the table out of the way, hang on, to be able to film. This one, this was probably like the second or third one I rescued, and I just really, really loved. I loved the colors. I loved the black background, just makes all the colors of the flowers pop. I just thought it was amazing. So I believe I got this. I did a lot of thrifting in 2020 because there wasn't a lot to do. So yeah, I did a lot of thrifting, and this is one of the pieces that I thrifted. So, and then above it, we've got this one. This one is not so much, I mean, the cross stitch is amazing, but it's the frame that caught my eye, because that's quite the frame that it's in, right? So over here. You can see the rainbows from my window. I have a little crystal dangling on my window that's making all these pretty rainbows right now. I've got the sun coming in the back. So yeah, this is an embroidery, not a cross stitch, and very different style and color than something I would usually buy, but I just thought it was really nice. A little bug. Unfortunately, whoever did this, you can see they originally marked where they were going to stitch with a blue marker, and they either didn't bother washing it off or weren't able to wash it off before they framed it. So you can see it. It's not that noticeable most of the time. I kind of don't notice it anymore because I'm so used to it. But yeah, unfortunately it's there. So that's too bad, but it is still very nice. So, and amazing work by whoever made it, right? This is another one where, oh Lord, the tiny stitches. I cannot even contemplate how small. Like these stitches are so tiny. I don't even know what measurement these would be if you were to compare. Like this is some kind of Ida, I guess. I don't even know what number. I don't know. It's so small, but so pretty. So yeah, I had to grab that one. And the roses. I do really love roses, so you see a lot of roses. And then this one, another embroidery, beautiful little garden. This was another 2020 find for me. And just very pretty. And this big boy is the one that started it all. This was my first rescue piece. This one does have a story associated with it. This one, I was out of town a couple hours away in Ontario with my mom and my sister. We got away overnight to visit some family and decided to stop at a thrift store in that town, and I saw this, and it was not too long after I had started cross-stitching again in 2017. It might have been in 2018 when I found this. And I just remember looking at it and I'm thinking, I can't believe someone's getting rid of that after all the work that someone else put into it. And I think it was $20, and I thought, I have to take that home. I can't let that potentially end up, you know, in the garbage if they can't sell it. So I brought it home, and that's what started off this obsession with rescuing cross-stitch and embroidery. So blame this guy, but it's beautiful and I do really love it. So, and we've got a nice big rose here. This is another one that I've seen this particular rose several times online. It's just very pretty. Just a nice little rose in a frame. We've got some nice little pansies. Some little anonymous flowers. I can't really tell what they are, but it's pretty, and I like the blue background. Watch out for my plant here. This guy. This one sticks out a lot because it's not just flowers. These are some, oh, what are they called? What are these birds called? Damn it, why can I not think of that? I will insert what these birds are called. I saw this one last year, this cross stitch that I rescued, and I had to get it because, sorry, there's a glare. I had to get it because these birds are very popular out where my brother lives in British Columbia, and we saw them all the time when we were visiting them last summer. And it's just such a pretty cross stitch, so even though it's not my usual rescue, I had to get it. And speaking of not my usual rescue, the mother of all cross-stitch projects, this one I found at Value Village. It is enormous. It's poster sized. And it was just amazing when I saw it at Value Village, and I had to have it. It was $30, but it's so beautiful. The colors are so bright. it's so different from anything I have ever seen, and I just had to have it. So brought it home and I hung it up here over my stairs, and I love it. So yeah. So before we leave the main floor, I forgot to show you a couple of things. So this is my main floor bathroom, very exciting, but I do have a couple of cross stitch pieces in here, so I will show you. We've got over here, this is from an Etsy seller. I finished this during the first few months of 2020. Well, not the first few months of 2020. The first few months of the pandemic of 2020. I think I finished it in July. So it, ironically, I believe I bought this pattern before the pandemic started, but then I had to obviously stitch it once the pandemic started. So yeah, it's just, it's really fun. I really like it, and it is in my bathroom to remind everyone what they should be doing. And then another one of my bathroom stitches. This is a NightspiritStudio piece. I did actually do the ghost, the white part of the ghost, in the glow-in-the-dark DMC. However, it has never glown. So that was a bit of a waste. That glow-in-the-dark DMC, at least the skein that I ended up with, is a lemon. It never glowed in the dark. So, but I do really like this piece, and people get a kick out of it. So another forgotten piece because it was hidden beside my Mother's Day cards. This is another, I believe this is a NightspiritStudio piece, and yeah, I really like it. So I've never actually been ghost hunting, but you know, given the choice, I would rather be ghost hunting than a lot of other things. So, and here we are in my basement. So I did rearrange my basement a few times over the last year, so I have these kind of random pieces here that I wasn't sure where to put. This was another one of my pieces from Etsy when I first restarted back in 2017, although even though I started it in 2017, I don't think I finished it until 2020 or 2021. I did the DNA double helix pretty quickly. Filling up the black background with the blue took forever and got put aside a few times. So yeah. This is a little piece that I did back in 2019 when I was going through a really hard time. I feel like I need to apologize. At the time when I did the Nevertheless, She Persisted, I was looking for something to embroider on here other than words, and I found this fist, and I did not know at the time that this was the Black Lives Matter fist. So I feel like I need to apologize for kind of stealing that. I didn't realize, I just looked up Google images at the time. So yeah, I need to apologize for that. But this piece still, it holds a really important part for me, because when I made this, and for about a year after I made this piece, I went through some of the hardest stuff I ever had to deal with in my life, and this was a reminder that I could get through it, and I did get through it. So this one here, this I designed myself. Again, this is another one that I worked on in 2019 when I was going through hard times. And just a reminder, I originally had both of those pieces up at work right after I made them, to remind me to be strong. And so now I have them down here. This one, this was a free stitch. Oh, let me find. This was a free stitch from November 2020. It was from around the time of the election in the States, Trump against Biden. And yeah, so I forget who posted this. It was posted on Instagram, a little freebie, and yeah, I did it in 2021. Coming to the end, and Moon has been following me every step of the journey, right, Moon? Eh? Yeah, you gotta be where the action is, right? You gotta know what's going on. Okay, so we're downstairs and still in my TV room. So, what's your favorite scary movie? This was an Etsy seller. I'm gonna find all of these sellers if I can, that I can't remember, and I will post them below. Almost everything I bought up to date has been from Etsy, unless it was a freebie. So I will try to find who the sellers are if they're still around though. And so this is a quote from my favorite movie, which is Scream. We've got the nice little 90s cell phone in there. I did this one. I completed it in 2020. Oh, maybe not. Was it 2020 or was it 2019? End of 2019, beginning of 2020, I believe. This one, I believe this is a TheWitchyStitcher. Sorry, I gotta move around. I believe this is also, oh, that glare. This is a TheWitchyStitcher. This is from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, if you ever watched. If not, it's probably still worth giving a watch, even though it's an older show now. But this Buffy was probably my absolute favorite show all through high school and university, so this gets a prominent place on my wall of fame. And I completed this in 2021, I believe. Then we've got the final one. Let's get rid of the glare. There we go. This is one of my more recent finishes. Another Scream piece. So this one is another Etsy seller, and I got this pattern last year, 2022, during the Stitch for Ukraine. This was a Ukrainian seller. Oh, I remember this is by DigitizeEverything on Etsy. And I just thought it was really funny and cute, and I love Scream, so I got it. So yeah, that's all of my cross stitch that is on display. I was just thinking about the fact that I do actually have more cross stitch, but some of them have been packed away because they're for, you know, Halloween or Christmas. So you can see this is my movie room, movie basement. I'll give you a little bit of a tour. There you go. So yeah, that's it. Sorry for the shaky camera work again, and I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed going through everything I've done. I kind of forget sometimes just how much cross-stitching I've done over the years. I mean, I really only got back into cross-stitching again in 2017, so that's what, 6 years ago? I've done a lot since then, so not including, of course, anything that I've given away. Before I had Flosstube, any that I made and gave away, the pictures you can find on my Instagram. Anything I gave away before I had the Instagram, you're out of luck. I don't have pictures of those, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. And now I'm going to probably fight with my new iPad to figure out how to edit all these snippets back together to make a little movie for you. But yeah, so have a great week. I still owe you a regular floss tube, which I will get you when I am feeling better. And until then, happy stitching. Bye.